All right. Okay. Let's go. Does this work? Not quite. Super weird. All right. See about it later. Welcome to the show.
Even outside, it's packed.
I know. I keep telling them that. Hit that like, folks. All right. I'm gonna get going right about now. Wonky, oh brother, right about now. Hi, everybody. Is my mic on? My mic's on. Camera's working. You're there. I'm here. What more could you want? It's Friday morning. We'll be doing a bit of Friday Eye today, of course, because while the advancements in AI are chugging along at a logarithmic speed, and the world is kind of caught up in sort of like old 13th century kind of conflicts. The future is giving us a reach around. That didn't come out right at all. It's kind of coming at us from a surprising angle. I don't know how to talk about this because I have a human brain and it's full of funny little things. But needless to say, how about even end run sounds dirty? It does. I'm making an end run around it. You know what I'm saying? So everything's an innuendo when you're trapped in double entendre hell. You know, it wasn't until I worked on Queer as Folk that I realized that how weird the phrase, "Do you mind if I squeeze in behind you?" was. Anyways, welcome to the show. Hi, everybody. Hello, chat room, you lovely, lovely people. Good to see you. Is this thing moving or it's stopped moving? Hold on. Gotta take the thing, and then I've got to make the thing go down to this thing. Look at you guys. Look at this. Why is it also stretch out and then do your thing? How come it's not affecting? What's wrong with you, you crazy screen? Anyways, I'm sorry if your words are being cut off, guys. It's being odd this morning. There's got to be a better way. I actually had a better way, and it just, like, being a dick. Like, hold on, yeah, there it is. Now it's working. Okay. It'll work some of the time, all of the time. There's how it's supposed to look. Wasn't doing this yesterday, was it? Just a big black screen, and then it didn't do anything, and I didn't change a goddamn thing. Hi. I don't need to. This is just see my behind the scenes frustration on it's so unprofessional. I apologize. Now, lots of news this morning, not the least of which I think is Trump's weird, creepy spank room off of his bedroom at Mar-a-Lago. So, for those of you who don't know, because there's such a riptide of crazy all the time, there was when the FBI executed its lawfully hold on one second, bring up the page. When the FBI executed their lawful search warrant on Mar-a-Lago, they apparently missed some sort of secret room in Trump's, like it was a closet in his room that they changed the lock on it, and he had asked them to change the lock and give only him the key. And so when they went there, they were told by staff, who are now, by the way, going to go to jail, that it didn't go anywhere. It was just a hallway thing, and it didn't go anywhere. And so they didn't kick the door down to check. And it was actually a secret room that he had specifically changed the locks on. Now, all those folks that said, no, that door didn't go anywhere, under instructions from Trump, okay, they're going to jail for lying to the FBI and specifically about an ongoing criminal enterprise. And he's going to jail for if he instructed them to say that, because that's engaging in a conspiracy to evade a search warrant, a lawfully obtained search warrant. So that's fun. I think that's hilarious. Well, they didn't believe Trump. Here's the thing. He wasn't there, if you'll recall. And one of the reasons why I think there actually was a heads up that they're bullshitting about the Mar-a-Lago search warrant, that he was actually given a heads up, and is one of the reasons that's why he left town, is because if he'd have been there, and they'd have said, who has the key to this room? First of all, he'd have to stand there and take it, because that's the law. And there's nothing he could have done about it. He could, like, if he stood in a doorway, there'd have been pictures of him doing it. It'd been fucking hilarious. And his blocking, his bullshit blocking the doors it would have been it would have been par for the course, but come on. So anyways, I guess ultimately they now know that it was there because somebody there admitted to it. They told the FBI, they tipped them off that there was this hidden room there. Now, whether they'll be able to execute another search warrant or whether the locals will say, well, it's void by now because clearly if there is you have no proof that criminal intent would be easy to prove, I think, pretty well. But the idea that the stuff is still there and you want to look because the stuff, he might have been dumb enough to leave it in that room in between all this, after all this time has passed, instead of moving it to Bedminster and burying it in his ex-wife's coffin, I suppose. I'm just spitballing, obviously. If you try to, 1 second, if I may. Let's just say you have a secret perv room that you used for years because you were friends with Jeffrey Epstein and he needed someplace on campus where he could operate without anybody interfering with him. I'm just, thinking like I would think the worst people in the world would think. And I don't know where I would get these ideas from. But let's say you're best friends with someone like Jeffrey Epstein and he hangs out at your club all the time. And up until he beats you out of a real estate deal, you're totally cool with his fucking teenage girls that are brought to his house and paid for massages by a woman who basically farms them in the neighborhood. You're cool with that. But, until he gets, he almost beats you out of a real estate deal that would bail you out of other stuff because you sell a piece of property to a Russian for 10 times what something is worth, which is weird because you're selling it to a foreign country that's one of our enemies and you're making money on that real estate deal. I don't know why that would even come up in my head in this, but we'll work on that later. So let's just say Jeff's over. You party with the dude. You've known him for 2 decades now. He's Jeff. And Jeff needs a little space where he can operate without having to, get out of the car and take somebody away. And so you just let him use this little side room off your office / bedroom / Howard Hughes cubby hole. And it's, obviously if anybody went in there with luminol, you'd be completely fucked. So you decide to change the locks. And it's just within a month of getting a warning that you're under investigation about missing documents. And then they execute a raid, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Not a raid, a lawfully executed search warrant because there was nobody came in through the skylight. I think that's my rule on a raid. You have to kick in a door, you have to come in through the skylight. I think, agreed? Okay. And then you realize that, oh shit, you have the key to the secret room where Jeffrey Epstein used to take his victims, and you have been storing the nuclear codes that you were going to sell to North Korea. Again, I'm just spitballing. And you're like, oh shit, if I'm here and they ask me who has the key, I have to say me, and then they'll look inside it while I'm standing there. So it's probably better if I fly to New Jersey. Because my lawyer's got a call that the FBI are coming tomorrow, and so I'll just go to another state and sweat in front of a television. Again, there's no reason to believe any of that is necessarily true. Now, will that change a fucking thing amongst Trump supporters? Absolutely not. Will the fact that I guess Engeron, yes. Let's see if I can do the. So, Alan Weiselberg, who I cannot say his name as well as Michael Cohen can. Michael Cohen, Alan Weiselberg, like the way he says it with that kind of New York. It sounds a lot more New York when he says it. I'm just saying. Alan Weiselberg apparently is in is I guess in the process of trying to get a plea deal on perjury in the real estate case and in his own tax case, I suppose. And let's see. The story is former federal prosecutor Ellie Honig appeared on CNN's The Source with Caitlin Collins to explain how it's more than likely that Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron requested more time to render a verdict in the $370 million civil fraud trial. Now that he and the world know that Weiselberg is hashing out a plea. That is the. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. The actual story of the plea. Yeah. That's yeah. So this is the news. This is the new shit. There you go to trends and news. There we go. Hi. Yeah, this is not a good situation for Weiselberg to be in, and it's even worse for Trump because here's the thing about a plea deal on perjury. You've already perjured yourself. We kind of already got you. We know you lied. We have a piece of paper that says what you knew and when you knew it and with your signature on it. And then you'd said, I don't know that. I never even heard that before. And I certainly did not sign that piece of paper, right? And you're like, you mean this piece of paper? And soup. And so just immediately, you mean this piece of paper? Yeah, that would be the piece of paper I said didn't exist. So apparently he had a moment like that recently. Also, infotainmentwars.com, share it and spread it around because we need all the help we can get. I gotta say, we are accelerating our number of subscribers. Success breeds success. I've seen proof of that at a horse stable at one point. Don't ask, don't tell. Anyway, so being very weird the last couple days. It's just, I think I've been watching too much Fry and Laurie. I think that's what a bit of Fry and Laurie. I just, when it like flips a switch in my brain and makes me very silly. All right. So, yeah, Alan Weiselberg negotiating a plea deal to plead to perjury, according to a report. Weiselberg is in talks with the DA's office, and according to the New York Times, last year he was indicted, we know this. Despite Weiselberg's involvement in the financial dealings at the heart of the case, the Times reports the deal would most likely not require Mr. Weiselberg, 76, to turn on his former boss. Bullshit. It will not require him. Here's the thing. He perjured himself in regard to stuff he did for the Trump organization. So, of course, he's going to have to tell the truth about what he lied about initially, and if they ask him any questions about the rest of the books, he's got to say yes. He's got to say, okay, this is what happened. Of course, first of all, Trump hung him out to fucking dry. I don't know why this guy doesn't just absolutely roll. He's an old man. He doesn't need this shit, and he certainly doesn't need to spend a day in jail if he can help it for Donald Trump. Good fucking Lord. Anyways, this is the whether the plea involves a felony or misdemeanor. More than likely, it's felony perjury because it involves lots of money and lots of stuff. And he's going to plead it down to a misdemeanor and then get, no time behind bars because he's not a threat to anybody. And in business, you don't need, it's very rare that white-collar criminals go to jail unless they have Enroned their way into a situation where people have been physically harmed by their bullshit instead of just financially harmed. Because a jail is really there to keep you from fucking attacking someone or taking their shit physically. Once you've been convicted on this kind of shit, there's only two people will do, most people won't do business with you after that, so they're not in danger of you stealing their money, right? Nobody's going to go, oh, that fucking guy. You mean the guy who went to jail for perjury and cooking the books? Yeah, I'm not going to hire him as my accountant. Is there anyone else available? Oh, there's thousands? Cool. That's how that usually goes. And then the people who would hire someone like that because, oh, this is the kind of guy that cooks the books, you say? He's good at cooking the books? It's like something they'd add to his resume. If he did 6 months, they'd go, oh, he did 6 months. That's good. He's not a short timer. He'll put his time in. Okay, good. Get him over here. Help him, get him to cook my books because at least he keeps his fucking mouth shut. So, and then he's working for criminals anyway. So if you're trying to, in theory, in New York or any other state, protect normal business that's just trying to function from criminal mob style shit, the way you do it is you just convict the guy, make him pay a fine, maybe it goes 10 days in jail just to make him feel like shit, and it's on his record that he spent time in jail, even if it was an hour, and then what's done is done. Because you'll notice that when Jeffrey Epstein went to jail, for example, a lot of people stopped hanging out with him, but other people who were still in business with him because they were either part and parcel to what he was doing, they were engaged in his proclivities, or if he, I guess simply, how do I put this, that they were so financially tied to him, or he was blackmailing them that they couldn't get out, or that they liked the fact that this guy had underground connections because he was not afraid to do business with skeevy people. They're going to do business with him anyways. It's not going to change a fucking thing. And if you've got gang members running fucking gangs from prison, there's no reason to believe that somebody like Epstein or even, and Weiselberg, and he's not anywhere in the same category, I understand, but couldn't just from phone privileges from jail advise people on criminal activities and get away with it. I mean, why would that be weird? Okay, so anyways, now you know that's pretty fun. So a couple of things. Now, back to the chat because I love you guys. Now, if I may, Hal, are you okay? I'm great. Am I talking too fast? It's just a lot of stuff. I have been reading all morning, so I get backed up. It's just I need mental fiber, I think is really what it is. And there we go. So Trump did blackmail. Sorry, somebody was saying Trump did blackmail thing. What? Did blackmail Weiselberg. He had to testify friendly for Trump, or Trump was going to pay him the 1.3 million he was owed. Yeah, that's also different. That's not. I guess you could say that withholding pay or whatever, but he still it didn't matter because he can sue for that back pay. Because especially if he he knows he's never going to get it. I take that back. He knows where everything is. Here's the weird thing: if you're somebody, and this is, may I make some advice? Give some advice. I'm going to put this over there. If I could give some advice to our criminal element in the chat room, and maggots, you know who you are. Couple of things. One. Don't speed when you have a body in the trunk. The old adage, don't break the law while you're breaking the law, is very important. Right. The other thing is, don't make a rap video about it or buy a new suit after you've killed someone or robbed a bank. It's a terrible idea. If you learned nothing from Heat, shame on you. Don't buy a new car right after the heist. What the fuck is wrong with you? The other thing is that if you are the accountant for the mob, you have to, or any criminal enterprise, you have to understand, especially if you're the chief accountant for a mob-like enterprise. If you are that person, it would behoove you, it would be in your best interest at some point, while you're setting up all their secret little bank accounts where their money is hidden and all that kind of stuff, to build yourself a digital nest egg where every time money goes into this one account, it shaves off money and puts it into another account that's under some other LLC in Switzerland or the Cayman Islands or that kind of stuff. So that if ever they decide to cut you loose and you need to go full Duke from Midnight Run, you've got an escape package. You got a go bag, as it were, that you can get from anywhere in the country. It doesn't have to be a fucking duffel bag full of cash like an asshole. That's what the physical mob guys do. That's why the cops are at their door. They're pouring drugs down the fucking toilet and run out the back while this is satire abuse, Mr. Spock. I'm sorry. You're starting to think this is like real advice. You might be right. So that said, if you're gonna be the Alan Weiselberg of the Trump organization, I would suggest you build some, because Trump's too fucking stupid to know. You could over the years, you're like, okay, I mean, this is what. Okay. Side note, if I may, gather in. I liked the first season of Reacher. I enjoyed it very much. The second one, not so much. Hollywood. Let me explain something to you. I understand diversity is our strength. I know you want a United World of Benetton every show now because you think you have to, and it's very awkward. And I adore you, and the actors are terrific. It's not their fault. But I would like to put this in front of you. I don't need my loner show to finally learn to work with a team in season 2. If you run out of shit that the loner can do you realize how long Kung Fu ran? You dumb motherfuckers. And you're stretching one story over 10 episodes. They did one story an episode. This motherfucker went years walking around by himself. Anyways, one of the primary things, spoiler alert, in the first season was this accountant who was made to work for this counterfeiter because he was great at moving currency around, right? And in one of the plot points was that this guy he's fantastic at his fucking job. And once he'd made this exchange, he was like, oh shit, I'm stuck in this. And for the last like 3 years, he's been under this guy's thumb. Nobody in that organization understood anything that guy was doing. And he was very smart, obviously, to be able to do this currency stuff. Let me tell you something. If everyone you're working with is an idiot and you're the only person who understands the math, you're in charge. Do you get me? Do you understand what I'm saying? If they're the ones who are like, if we bleach a dollar bill, we can print 100 on top of it. That's their brilliant plan. And you're the guy who can like shave pennies to execute exchanges of single dollar bills delivered on pallets in South America from banks, ATMs, and coffee shops all over the world. If you can do that, you're in charge. Anyways, all right. So I just want to throw that out there. It's the same fucking problem I had with Limitless, the Brainiac nootropic movie. One of literally the primary plot hinge. It's not the plot point. It's not the driven thing. It's not the main antagonist. His secondary antagonist storyline is that he borrows money from the mob to seed the fact that he can make millions and millions and millions of dollars on the stock market, and he can't get a regular loan from anywhere else, even though he could double his wins and all this kind of stuff. And he's trying to stack what he's doing. So he borrows money from like the Polish mob or some shit, or the Russian mob, and then forgets to pay it back. He's like walking around months later, like 3 months later, and the dude shows up like, I want my fucking money. He's like, ow, fuck. I'm like, okay, so maybe the drug doesn't work very well. Maybe perhaps, I don't know, maybe you should supplement that drug if you could. Maybe. I always get triggered by Limitless. You're absolutely right. Maybe you should supplement that with like, what's that? I don't take it, so I don't know. The old folks pill that everybody's selling all the time. I don't know why Neutrogena is stuck in my fucking head. Prevagen, that's what it is. I just remembered. Prevagen, right? Just maybe you should take the super pill and Prevagen. Right? Provigil, right, yeah. Other than the fact that it'll make you slightly psychotic, makes you apparently sniff a lot, I've heard. Because sometimes it can cause a lot of sniffing. And what was the other one? The other side. Oh, yeah. It can make you impulsive and make you, like sexually promiscuous, I guess, is the other one. Or whatever, have less standards. Yeah. Thank you, CSL in the chat. It literally, he puts in the GIF. Oh, fuck, dude. I love that. Details matter. He put the GIF from Reacher that says details matter. Yes, it does. And to all you moronic criminal masterminds out there, say what you will, but Dr. Evil at least designed his own laser. Okay? These are evil geniuses. Gone is the evil genius. The genius now is the guy who can use everyone, which is a perfect world for Donald Trump. Yeah. So, 190 to 6. Is that a Chicago song? Yeah. Meanwhile, Shovel. Oh. Did those criminals not read Mindful Thief? I suppose not. Oh, you prefer Pervitin, Dancy? I gotta say, so did the Nazis. And I'm not saying you're a Nazi. Yeah. Punisher rant part 2. Oh, fuck me. There's never been a Punisher movie or series. And the one good one that was sort of a Punisher movie, the last one, was a fucking Judge Dredd movie without the helmet. Feel free to at me. Look, it's Friday. I can talk about whatever the fuck I want. It's the morning show. And god damn it, I can say whatever I want. All right, now, this is a bit of a departure. Let me see if I can bring this up. It's going to be a bit of a departure, my friends. My friends. Let's see. Bringing up the U in the tube. Here's the interesting thing. Over the last couple of... We don't have any guests today, so I'm free balling it. Look out. I'm going to find this video. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Okay, so first of all, open this one in a new tab, and then open this one in a new tab. All right. Now, this is a bit of a departure.
We're here to discuss a money.
Shut up. Normally, I do not do videos in the morning show, but I was thinking recently. I was standing in the shower the other day when I realized I was destined for greatness, and all the talk of like stealing classified documents, all the talk about him grabbing women by the pussy or maligning women that Trump has sexually assaulted, all that stuff, I find horrifying. You find horrifying. Maggots, I know you're there. By the way, share the show because I bring your angry friends. I need all the eyeballs I can see. And plus, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you're going to like me and you're going to respect what I say eventually in spite of yourself. And it's not because I'm going to force you to. I just really do, mean well. And it's hard to miss that. It really is. Like, you can only watch for so long before you realize, wow, he's sweet. He's a sweet guy. And he means well. And he wants the best for me and my family, even if I don't. Fuck him. I hate him. I understand. That's the cycle of thoughts that's going to go through. It's on a little loop. I fuck him. But then he is nice. And I do see that he wants the best for me and for my family, which is what I don't want. So fuck him. I get it. But eventually you're going to have to jump off that carousel. And great Norm Macdonald doing Jack Nicholson. Thanks, Mr. Spock. Yes, it was fairly terrible. I agree. Okay, so all the things about Trump. Stealing classified documents, fucking lying about his connections to Russia, all that kind of shit. None of it's going to change any maggot minds ever. Nothing. You know what will, though? You know what? Like all his bullshitting about, the economy was going to collapse and it didn't. All his bullshit about the world would, I guess, first of all, none of the idea that no wars would happen if it wasn't for him, and the Afghan war continued under him and he never left while he was in office. And then now says he would have never left, period, which is just fucking dumb. And he stopped going to the dignified transfers of our dead soldiers after the fourth one because one of the parents was mad at him and he didn't want to go anymore. So he sent fucking pence to all of them. Barf. Meanwhile, by the way, we lost 3 soldiers last week. Biden called the families personally and asked permission if they would be okay if he was there, so as not to step on their toes if they believed it would bring politics to it because it's a campaign year and also because of the divisive nature of our lives. He asked the parents if it would be okay if he was there. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. All right. But is any of that shit going to move maggots from the Trump camp to the Biden camp? No. Is it going to move people from the Trump camp just out of the Trump camp and back into the fucking woods like where they were? Right? No. You know what will, though? You know what will? I think I've stumbled upon it, kids. You know, you can make an ad about him bragging about killing Roe v. Wade, and that'll have an impact. And you can make, you know, funny little splice ups about his fuck ups and like the Lincoln Project, and that'll have some impact. That'll drive some independents away. But you know what will really drive away the maggots? You know what'll really push them away? This old chestnut. All you got to do, Democrats, and you got to do this on the down low because obviously the administration can't do it and the DNC can't do it. But I can do it, and Midas Touch can do it, and everybody online can do it. And you just start playing shit with Trump bragging about vaccines and stuff. By the way, while being weak as fuck, we'll get to that in a second. But this little 50-second ad, they played this as a video before Donald Trump came out on stage at the Operation Warp Speed meetings.
We're here to discuss a monumental national achievement from the
terrible turnout. I don't know why.
Since the coronavirus invaded our shores, we raced into action to develop a safe and effective vaccine at breakneck speed. We're just
you get the idea that starting to get the idea where his people feel like he rushed it.
Days away from authorization from the FDA, at which point we will immediately begin mass distribution. As a result of this unprecedented investment.
Let me tell you something. This is fucking weird. This looks like something a campaign would put out, not the White House. It was weird at the time. It's even weirder in retrospect. And the reason they're playing music and this shit behind him is because he sounds shaky. Now, I don't remember when the timing of this was. If he'd had COVID or he pretended to have it or he was just scared of having it. But his voice is really fucking shaky. And I'll show you. Yeah, KJ, yeah. You don't remember this? They ran this shit. Wait. Just listen to... See if you can pick... I almost feel like we should have a, rusty trombone, Alex Jones flip-out bingo card where we'll just check off all the shit where they're like, what the fuck?
We are exceedingly proud that both Pfizer and Moderna have announced that their vaccines are approximately 95% effective.
Okay, this is the funny thing. And the truth shall set you free. You know, the truth shall set you free, unless you tell the truth and you go to jail for it. Alan, keep your mouth shut. This is so good. Seriously, this is the ad. This is the ad they need to run.
Despite the grim projections from the media 8 months ago, we did something that nobody thought was possible. They said it will never happen. You could never do it. It was a pipe dream. In just a few minutes, I'll sign an executive order.
Look who that is. Look who's there. Look who's part of the Operation Warp Speed Summit. Who the fuck is that guy? What do you know?
In order to ensure that American citizens have first priority to receive American...
Hey, look who else is there. What do you know? What are the chances of these two guys? Please, no one show this to Alex Jones.
Vaccines. We will soon end the pandemic and we will save millions and millions of lives.
Squirt, squirt. And there's his dementia lean. Yeah. Did it start before that? We don't know. That's it. That's a campaign ad. It's super fucking weird. And so it should be a campaign ad. So I'm going to push that out on my socials all this year. Just going to keep posting it as best I can. I'll post the link to it so we can just feed it to maggots whenever. Seriously, anywhere you go, like if you put up him sweaty and fucking up and all this stuff, they're going to, I don't give a shit. This will absolutely shatter their idea of who he is. And he fucking made it. Okay, now let me show you the long form real quick just because this is pretty fucking
Tremendous
spectacular. Shut the fuck up. Okay, so before check this out. They have a signer because it's the White House. This is from that vaccine summit. They made the ad from this thing, okay? And he had a bunch of them there. Remember, they were like Walgreens was going to open up their parking lot so soldiers could give a shot in your arm and all this fucking. In retrospect, it sounds like a fucking dystopian nightmare for maggots. And the idea that, remember all that shit about like Jade Helm and Agenda 21 and their FEMA camps, and they're making plastic coffins for Americans. Oh, thank you, Loretta. Thank you for that super chat. Bless you. By the way, that's how the show stays around. Please like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Venmo and super chat are available. Stars on Facebook, and of course, bits on Twitch. I don't know what the shitter is up to, but I'm streaming on there, and we're on Instagram too. I'm streaming on Instagram, so if you have an Instagram, you can share out the show somehow. I've never been really clear on how the Instagram sharing thing works. It's the most awkward part of the whole fucking thing. Anyways, this is that video that he put together is from this Operation Warp Speed summit. Okay, let's just be abundant. Usually we associate summits with warring parties. It's not quite a peace deal, but let's get the warring sides together for this. This was just it was a committee meeting. They set up a committee of governors and other people, but committee sounds fucking weak and governmental. So vaccine summit sounds, it's almost like I picture like Trump and Ron DeSantis and Dr. Fauci and Burke and whatever. And on the other side of the table, COVID, just a big undulating, we have demands, right? All right, so let's check it out.
Told the American people that we would have a vaccine before the end of the year, and
swear to God, I want to find this video by itself. CSL, if we could, if they have it anywhere, I don't know. This is the only place I could find it is this, and I'm not above like downloading this video and then just cutting out the frame and blowing it up just to release this, because seriously, this will fuck them in this election more than anything else. It's the weirdest thing, but it will.
some scoffed at that timetable.
The vaccine by the end of this year, is that possible in your view?
Oh, Brian, you know, it's another day of POTUS in Wonderland here. It is preposterous.
Could be January, could be later. We don't know.
So the whole process is going to take a year and a half at least.
They're certainly not going to.
Which, by the way, all turned out to be true. Just like, literally, like the variation of, and they've made improvements on it over time. And all these people are like, they said we couldn't do it this fast. Also, what about the vaccine harmed? Like,
Be ready to start poking people in the arms real soon.
I still think 12 to 18 months is an aggressive schedule, and I think it's going to take longer than that to do so.
There's no prospect that there's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people before.
And there wasn't one for the majority of the American people. I mean, there's still technically, there's a big chunk of the American people, and this is what he was addressing, that have health concerns that a certain, like the process of making this might not work for them, and there was no way of knowing.
For the middle of next year.
It is impossible to get that done by the end of the year.
Operation Warp Speed is unequaled and
Seriously, I'm dead serious. Play this, and maggots will leave him in droves. And like, I swear to God, we should just make a version of this, and on the end of it go, "I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message," and put that text Trump to 82202 or whatever, for donations, and just post it as oh, new Trump ad. It would seriously, the irony. This will absolutely destroy his campaign.
unrivaled anywhere in the world. The single greatest mobilization in U.S. history, pioneering, developing, and manufacturing.
Standing right next to Fauci the whole time. Fauci's looking like a proud papa in front of the other scientists, and Trump's like, "You sound very smart. You're a very smart person."
Therapies and vaccines in record time.
Operation Warp Speed is doing something that's never been done before in history.
And then I suppose you just what would Alex Jones and his crowd do in this right at this point? If this was a Joe Biden ad about this stuff in this never been done before part, they would immediately cut to one of these like Karens shaking in a bed who's got vaccine harm and shivers all the time now because like, you know what I'm talking about? Like all these like anecdotal vaccine harm QAnon videos you see everywhere, right? Who put this out? Trump did. Oh, Loretta, thank you so much. Why are you sorry about that? You're amazing.
The first Americans will get shots in arms in the second half of December.
That's incredible, Elizabeth. The timeline has just been jaw-dropping.
We were able to and empowered to make all the right calls.
Wait a minute, who's this guy? Is this Klaus Schwab?
And decisions.
Well, this is
We just talked to people at the World Economic Forum. Animals can be raised and slaughtered.
a rather remarkable moment because it is true. This is warp speed. Warp speed is being run in a non-political way, in a way we can be proud of.
We believe we're going to have people getting vaccinated, millions of people, before Christmas this year.
I cannot hear you over the stock music that is too loud.
It's just unheard of.
I mean, that's crazy. Listen how loud that fucking music. Listen to the mix on this shit. Like, get over yourself.
The history of public health is accomplishment.
I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message. That's it. There are so many, and somebody said like they didn't leave them when this actually happened. That's because they hadn't built up the conspiracy theory yet, right? Now, in retrospect, all these motherfuckers think every election was rigged, even the one where he was in office and he was able to run. And then that like this was all a big setup. And that, you know, Big Pharma and the Illuminati and the Deep State and the Pentaverate and the Chinese government and fucking Fauci and the mole people all got together and made this, right?
Ladies and gentlemen,
ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to stumble!
President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
That is a recording. Cool. Please tell me he brought the actual band and made them stand in the back of this shit wearing masks, playing horns through masks. Look at this. Just this picture alone. Him, Operation Warp Speed in the back. All this stuff. Again, we're going back in time. I'm not going to do much of this, but I just wanted to share this with you because holy shit. I just want you to remember how far this asshole is from the reality of his time in office when he talks about it. Also, you know how they always say that, like, presidents age like shit while they're in office? You know what I mean? Trump has aged worse since he left. Like, he definitely did age while he was in office. But since he left office, it's just been like, wow.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank Lee Greenwood for writing that great song in the late 1800s.
Please. How are you, Admiral? Thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. I'm honored to welcome Dr.
I'm honored to welcome very much. By the way, this is the era where I thought Trump, like my buddy Chris Bono could do the best Trump from this era. I don't think that he did, but just his own natural embarrassment and his inability to read. Like, Chris had a couple of characters that he would do that were like that were just fucking great. And Chris, please, Chris, you're watching sometimes, I know. Somebody go bug Chris Bono and tell him to start doing a Trump, because God damn it.
Scientists, industry executives, and state and local leaders to our historic Operation Warp Speed Vaccine Summit. It's been some
summit. It's been some
journey for all of us. It's been an incredible success. We're grateful to be joined by Vice President Mike Pence, who has done an absolutely incredible job on.
He did great. He's such a great job. I mean, in the middle of all this, he did such a great job. I would never even think of calling for my supporters to kill him a couple of months from now.
On the coronavirus task force, Mike, thank you. Stand up, Mike.
See what I mean? Oh, thank you, my brother. Oh, thank you, Sazel.
Great job. We're here.
He just gave Mike Pence a standing O. He had him stand up to get. That's 3 months later. His supporters would be screaming for the man's head.
To discuss a monumental national achievement.
By the way, the labored breathing will stand out to you. And I think this is before he had COVID. I'm not sure. Like back on this, it all blurs after a while. But like, Jesus Christ.
From the instant the coronavirus invaded our shores,
we reacted weeks later.
Raced into action to develop a safe and effective vaccine.
See what I mean? Jesus Christ. Like, play this in front of that Pat asshole on the Blaze.
At breakneck speed.
You mean without safety precautions? Is that what you're trying to tell everybody? Is that what you mean? Like, that's how they're hearing it. I'm just telling you.
It would normally take 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, or even more.
He always said that, too.
In order to achieve this goal, we harness the full power of government, the genius of American scientists, and the might of American industry to save millions and millions of lives all over the world. We're just days away from authorization from the FDA, and we're pushing them hard.
We're trying to rush it because that's what will make people feel better about taking it. Again, it's fucking hell.
At which point we will immediately begin mass distribution. Before Operation Warp Speed, the typical time.
Sorry. I have my, the sad part is, for whatever reason, I don't know why the audio on this thing won't play right. It's just, yeah, see, it's some input issue on the audio on that. Hold on. I'll see if I can play it just out through the speakers, and you might be able to hear it on here. Let's go to this guy. There you go. Could you hear that at all? Was it too quiet? There you go.
Time frame for development and approval, as you know, could be infinity.
It could be infinity before the FDA approves something. Trillions upon I needed an extra temporal word to even begin to facilitate the idea philosophically of the timescape that is beyond our even human comprehension for when we could possibly ever get FDA approval. These motherfuckers, they want to slow walk everything and make sure it's safe. Like a bunch of, if these guys were any bigger pussies, I'd want to grab them.
And we were very, very happy that we were able to get things done at a level that nobody has ever seen before.
You know what? I think you should start using that phrase. I think it's going to catch on. And it's not at all dumb.
The gold standard vaccine has been done in less than 9 months. On behalf of the entire nation, I want to thank everyone here today who has been involved in this extraordinary
tell us who.
American initiative. I also want to recognize members of my administration who have worked tirelessly in this effort.
Yeah, great people. Tell us who they are.
Alex Azar, please, Alex. Where's Alex?
There's Alex Azar. You've heard a lot from him lately. He's one of the few guys who's coming out to talk about Trump, and Trump brings him around to, oh, wait, no, he's just basically disappeared from public view?
Thank you, Alex. Great job.
Great job, Alex. I never want to talk to you again.
Bon Chef Slawi, where are you?
Sorry. I love when he says foreign names because it's so labored. There's a couple of them, by the way.
Bon Chef Slawi.
Sorry. Like it looks like he's afraid his lips are going to jump off his face. Bon Chef Slawi, shit. Coleslaw Johnson. Moshclav Schlafly. Ooh, I said it.
Where are you, Monsef? Thank you very much. Great job. A man who's now going to be very important, General Gus Perna. I have no doubt about it, right?
Yeah, he's been huge since. I mean, Gus Perna, terrific work. Terrific. All we hear these days, just all like, okay, enough. Gus Perna, I get it. Yes, yes, I understand. They should put his face on the flag, right? Who? Right. No, I mean, some of these people did a good job. That's the funny part. He doesn't give a shit.
Logistics.
He's the guy who was going to organize the military trucks in the parking lots of Walmarts so that people would get his shots.
Jared Kushner's worked so hard. Where's Jared? Jared, wherever you may be. Thank you, Jared.
He's in the Middle East right now getting a hand job from a Filipino slave that was provided for him by the MBS.
Dr. Deborah Birx. Deborah? Thank you very much, Deborah.
Here comes
Admiral Brett Guar. Where is
Sorry. Guar.
Brett. Great job you've been doing, Brett. Surgeon General Jerome Adams. Jerome, thank you very much. Terrific. Dr. Robert Redfield. Robert, thank you very much.
Who looks like Robert Redford but talks like Renfield.
Appreciate it.
You like Coleslaw Johnson? Yeah. Admiral Brett Guar. Please, yeah, they should cut to one of the guys from Guar. Just.
Administrator Seema Verma. Seema, thank you. Dr. Peter Marks.
Do not call him Dick Marks. He hates that. Don't. Peter Marks is bad enough.
Peter. Yes, Peter.
His brother Dick and his cousin Skid.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Paul Mango. Adam.
Paul Mango. Oh shit! This shit is gold. Oh God, I'm all right. Wait, I'll be fine. Okay. Whew. I'm trying to get, because the best is yet to come. Wait for it.
Adam Bowler and Brad Smith. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you all very much. Incredible job. And many others also. Many others. We're also grateful.
By the way, he didn't mention Fauci, did he? Weird.
To be joined by Governors Greg Abbott.
Oh, hey. So Greg Abbott was there. He took part in the Operation Warp Speed Summit. He was there. Of all the governors in the country, Greg Abbott, I mean, I guess he's going in alphabetical order and he'll get to all the other governors. It's probably just, it's not his fault he was named first in this. It's just, he just had to be there, because the whole thing was a joke anyway, so you had to be there. Sorry.
Here's Greg. Bill Lee. Bill?
Billy Bill? Hey, man. If you're going to be the governor of any of the Dakotas, any of the Carolinas, or the Y's and the Omings, Billy Bill is a good name for you.
Thank you, Bill. Ron DeSantis.
Hey, that guy sounds familiar. He's there. Greg Abbott, you, Bill Lee, and Ron DeSantis. I'm sure, you know what? I'm sure he's just skipping around at this point because it's in alphabetical, or maybe everybody else, maybe all the other governors. No, Newsom's an N. That would be before. Yeah, I don't know where he's going to get to Nome next. Maybe he is going in alphabetical.
Ron?
No, because L. Lee is before, unless Billy is his. I don't know. Is it a stage name? Is Billy like Cher or Sting?
Thank you, Ron. Thank you very much. Great job, Ron.
Great job, Ron. Yeah, I think, I don't know why that's not in an ad. Ron DeSantis, why didn't you put that part in there?
Thank you, Ron. Thank you. Ron DeSantis. Ron. Thank you, Ron. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job, Ron.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Ron. Great job, Ron. I'm just saying, this is what you run. This is what you play to dissuade maggots.
And John Bell Edwards. John Bell. Thank you.
No Bell End jokes.
Thank you, John Bell. Thank you very much. As well as Senator John Barrasso, who's a fantastic doctor also, by the way, I have to say. When I need info on that subject, I call up John. Thank you, John.
When I need info on doctor, when I'm doing doctor, when people are like, how do you play doctor? I ask him.
Thank you very much.
When I need info on that subject of doctor, I call Barrasso. You do realize you have the phone number to, like, the entire VA. You have Walter Reed. You could, I'm fairly certain you probably, as president, have a little beeper on your belt that if you just literally press it, all the doctors from Walter Reed will run to wherever the fuck you are, I would guess.
Senator Steve Daines, congratulations on a great win.
Yeah, Great Danes. Sorry.
Great win.
Great win, Great Dane.
That was easier than you thought, it turned out, right? It was a little easier than you thought. Great going. We're proud of you. Congressman Greg Walden. Greg, thank you very much.
All these guys, all of them Republicans, by the way. They're all like, that's the hilarious part. He got all these motherfuckers in the room and basically lashed them to the mast.
Thank you very much. And Congressman Brad Wenstrup. Thank you, Brad. Great job. And many, many others. My administration provided a
This is the part that's just fucking choice.
total of $14 billion to accelerate vaccine development.
Your administration, $14 billion. Accelerate vaccine development. Please tell me more.
And to manufacture all of the top candidates in advance, long in advance.
Long in advance. I paid all of these pharmaceutical companies ahead of time with your money to get a vaccine as fast as possible. Which on Earth 1 would be a good thing, but in the future, all my supporters will hate me for it and blame everyone but me.
As a result of this unprecedented investment, we are exceedingly proud that both Pfizer and Moderna have announced.
Just listen to him say those pharmaceutical companies' names. They just roll right out without any hesitation, just able to say their names, and it's cool.
That their vaccines are approximately 95% effective, which is a number that nobody expected to be able to get to.
He's big on numbers, by the way, because he's like, we got 95% of it, 80% of these things, 65% of them is better than everybody else's in negative ass territory.
Far exceeding anything that really that anybody thought. We went out and we said, what do you think a maximum would be? And I think doctors, we all came up to the conclusion that something like that would be really incredible. We have other.
So you're saying that number sounds farcical and nearly impossible, and the fact that it was achieved through new technology and not standard vaccine technology, and that's one of the main reasons why your followers wouldn't take it. And that looking back, if you told them Donald Trump said 95% effective, what do you think their reaction would be? Just, like, if somebody walked up to one of these motherfuckers and played this video of him talking about, like, can I get your reaction? I just want, this is something Trump said, and I want you to hear it. Whoever, this actually happened, but I don't want you to think we made it up. But this is him, and they played that chunk, just like to thank Pfizer, Moderna, and the fact that their vaccines are 95% effective, which they are. It's all true. The fact that he's saying that, they go, that's fucking, he didn't say that. They made him say that, or that's Gary Busey in a suit.
Candidates looking right now. We have some big ones that we're going to be announcing very soon. We have some companies, great companies out there you all know about, Johnson & Johnson and
Both of them.
And others, and they're all coming in, and they're coming.
Johnson & Johnson and big, huge companies. I can't think of any of the other. AstraZeneca, that's a British company.
In very quickly. We expect to have some news on that very shortly. And we have worked very well with the companies, but if for any reason we have...
So public-private partnerships, is that what you're saying?
Any problems, we will be instituting the Defense Production Act. And
yes, we will use the military to produce vaccines if they won't produce them fast enough. See what I mean? Like, a lot of this is just like normal in the middle of a crisis. Can you listen to it with maggot ears for a second and understand how fucking wigged out these assholes are? This is it. You don't have to play anything else this year. Dead serious. Nothing will drive them away faster than, oh my fucking God, he was a mole for the fucking WEF or whatever.
We will make sure that we don't have any problems for very long. We've instituted it before.
We'll shoot them if they won't make it fast enough. I don't know. We'll send soldiers in with guns into the factories and force them to produce the vaccine at a breakneck speed.
For 2 additional...
My hairnet fell into the mixture. Keep pumping it out.
Companies, AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson. As you know, the Johnson & Johnson's a one-dose, one-shot vaccine, so we're going to see how that works. That would be very helpful if that all came out, and I think...
Because one is less than 2. I think most of the time, I think a lot of people would agree.
It probably will. Also, they're showing tremendous promise.
Yeah.
All of them. Tremendous.
They are. Tremendous promise.
Problem. We're very hopeful.
What? Sorry. You were going to say promise, but then you said something else.
Tremendous promise. All of them. Tremendous problem.
What was that? What was that again? Sorry. I missed. I think I missed that one. If I may.
They're showing tremendous promise.
Tremendous promise. Yeah, I was with you there. And then something else happened.
All of them. Tremendous problem. We're very.
Even he knew because the Illuminati, it was written in his notes, and he was trying to warn us. It's he recognized that the words he was using, if you use your QAnon decoder ring, he was trying to tell us that the vaccines are a problem. I'm not like...
Very hopeful that the FDA will authorize the Pfizer vaccine within days.
Jesus Christ. Can you, again, listen to that sentence.
Gotta get it moving. And Moderna vaccine almost immediately thereafter. Large numbers of tests and samples have been done, so hopefully that'll go very quickly.
Yeah. Oh, God, this is so good.
If authorized, tens of millions of vaccine doses will be available this month, and we'll get it distributed very quickly. We'll have that all set. And
yeah, it's all set. Logistics guy, you're going to put soldiers in parking lots giving people shots as they line up behind like some sort of fucking dystopian 90s outbreak movie.
Hundreds of millions more will quickly follow. Every American who wants the vaccine will be able to get the vaccine. And we think by spring, we're going to be in a position that nobody would have believed possible just a few months ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, you mean with Joe Biden in office? Sure. Yeah. Right before the primary, I think a lot of people thought that was a long shot. But he kicked ass and took names, and at this point you were, every time somebody said his name, you were shitting yourself, so...
Yeah.
It's like one person like, yes! I have a crystal ball in my office, and you will no longer be here. Oh my God, yeah. The Facebook. Yeah, hold on. This is CSL's putting this up here. Hold on one second. See if I can bring this over. Get out of here. This is. You just clip this. And it's like that image alone. Like, you don't have to play the fucking video for these dickheads. All you got to do is show this image. And they'll go, that's a lie. And then they'll go seek it out. And then they'll watch it. And they'll go like, he was in on it. And then they're like, fuck, deep state. Right. Oh, it's so good. Okay, real quick. We're almost done with this.
Really amazing.
Really amazing.
They say it's somewhat of a miracle, and I think
Yes, they do. They say it's somewhat of a miracle. That thing called science.
that's true. The plan we put forward priority.
And I know miracles because I once bankrupt a casino and people thought that wasn't possible. They're like, it's a miracle. Someone's finally done it. The house actually lost. How did you manage to do that? You must be incredibly stupid. And I was like no one, stupid at a level like no one's ever seen before.
Prioritizes the elderly and patients with underlying conditions, as well as healthcare workers and first responders.
Sorry, who?
With underlying conditions, as well as healthcare workers and first responders.
Yeah, first responders.
With underlying conditions, as well as healthcare workers and first responders.
You sound a little stuffed up. Is there any chance you might have some sort of respiratory infection or something? Yeah, he's probably.
Ultimate decision rests with the governors of the various states.
It's not my fault. It's up to you, you fuckers.
And I hope the governors make wise decisions who will.
You mean to actually use it? That wise decision?
Decide where the vaccines will go in their state and who will get them first. We urge the governors to put America's seniors first. And also, I think those who work with seniors, which obviously you're going to have to do that. I think.
Yeah, you gotta work with seniors because they're slow and, a lot of them don't know how to even pronounce the word responder.
They have to go together and
go where? What do you mean they gotta go? Are you saying old people have got to go? What kind of ice flow bullshit is this? Hold on. Is this he's trying to put down? Wait,
doctors,
sorry.
Nurses, first.
I'm sorry. Me of the future playing maggot of the future went back in time and watched
responders, etc.
Etc.
This will quickly and dramatically reduce.
I mean, it's warp speed. You don't have time for all the words. Just say etc., etc., etc. a lot. It's just life and death. It's just vaccines. It's just a pandemic. It's a pandemic, etc., etc., etc.
Deaths and hospitalizations, and within a short period of time, I think we want to get back to normal. It's a very standard phrase. We want to just get back to normal.
It is a standard phrase. Getting back to normal it's really common. It's not. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. It's a very standard phrase. We've got to get back to normal.
Get back to where we were.
We were not normal. Before the pandemic, it wasn't normal. None of what you were doing was normal, asshole.
A little more than 9 months ago, we were doing
a lot more than 9 months ago.
Incredibly. And in many respects, we're still doing incredibly with our stock markets and everything else, which are hitting all new highs.
No. No. All new highs, what? By percentage change because they took such a shit and then they kind of recovered, and even that minor recovery statistically was like a giant leap compared to the past because it's, again, this is one of these, this goes back to our original analogy about this asshole thinks that if you're 6 foot tall and you're standing in a 6 foot hole, that if you climb out of the hole, you're now 12 feet tall. That's Trump math.
We've already finalized a partnership with Walgreens and CV.
A public-private partnership, I think it's called. Right, Glenn Beck?
Yes, whose executives join us today. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much. We appreciate it very much.
I really appreciate you putting the gummy vitamins next to the regular vitamins, but I wish the labeling was better because I get this gritty stuff in my teeth, and it's a terrible mistake.
And they will deliver vaccines directly to nursing homes as soon as the states request that they do so. Later today, General Gus Perna will outline the detailed plan to rapidly distribute the vaccine to every state, territory, and tribe. States have designated over 50,000 sites that will receive the vaccine. We've worked very closely with the states. Actually, we've had very good relationships with the governors. I almost think all of the governors.
Almost all the governors, except the ones that cross me, in which case, fuck them, and I'm going to deny them protective gear.
At least in those conference calls that are somewhat secret, other than sometimes on occasion, Mike, the press will break in, which is fine, too. It's amazing how you leave those rooms.
Remember that? This was a thing where in one of the states, there were reporters in the room because they were on speakerphone. And they're not secret. None of these were secret. but he had this idea that they were speaking in, that it was top secret or some shit, like in confidence or whatever. And part of it got out that they were basically like, pressuring states that weren't kissing his ass if they wanted gear.
In about 10 seconds.
That's where California stepped in and started sending shit to Michigan. Remember all that stuff? Jesus Christ.
Seconds later, there wasn't even time for a leak. They were on the call, but that's all right. So you assume that. You always assume that.
You always assume, oh, really? You know what? That's a great piece of advice. You always assume someone's listening on the line. If you'd taken your own advice, maybe you would have never threatened Zelensky with the denial of weapons to get him to try and go after Joe Biden. It's just funny how that fucking works. Isn't that funny? How you said that? You're like, oh my God, we're always terrible at taking our own advice.
But they'll be going through pharmacies, hospitals, healthcare providers, through our partnership with FedEx, UPS, and...
We are going to leave the vaccine on your doorstep. You can inject yourself. It has nothing to do with me. A Tribe Called Quest Diagnostics.
Kesson will ship doses from warehouses directly to the designated sites, and we're thrilled to...
And you could just break them open like the heathens that you are, like refugees going after rice.
Be joined by representatives of those really great American companies. Those companies have worked with us, and they've been incredible to work with, and I want to...
They are incredible. They're incredible companies that have been incredible for incredible work that they're doing, and they've been incredible to work with.
Thank you all for being here, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
By the way, if you'll notice, this is one of the few situations where I've noticed that Trump is saying thank you instead of saying I'd like to thank. He says it a few times, but mainly he's saying thank you. He's genuinely thanking. And that means he's really fucking scared. What's abundantly clear in all these videos, because I looked back on a bunch of these this morning and yesterday, and over the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of like seeding into, their conversation, because all this anti-vax shit, they seem to forget that he was part of it. And occasionally you'll see a right-winger kind of drop the ball on this and go, well, Trump started this shit, or Trump started the lockdowns or whatever, and everybody else will go, shut the fuck up, dude. But if you go back and actually look at this stuff, like every like cue line that would trigger a conspiracy theory, every single fucking one of them, he says them at least a dozen times. Like, genuinely, if a Democrat said any of the sentences he says in this thing, they would build... Alex Jones could do entire shows off of him just thanking one of these dumb motherfuckers. I've never taken Regeneron. They actually make Regeneron, I'll have you know. At one point they called me up and they said, what do you think about Regeneron? And I was like, is that an action character I'm going to play? So I went down there and there was like, this isn't a studio, this is a lab. And they said, we'd love to get some of your skin scrapings so that we can save lives. And I said, fine. And from that came Regeneron.
As I've stated all along, and I guess as you saw pretty vividly...
Now I'm going back to fucking Cabo.
I heard about what they were going to show prior to my coming. You saw that...
Sorry. Shark Week? Sorry. No. I'll see myself out. I quit. That was wrong. It was so wrong, and I feel bad, and I'm not gonna... Oh, dear. What he meant was... So sorry. What he meant was... that video they played before he came on. So I would like to point out that just like I said, that other video that they had, and then the one they played at the top, Trump is proud of those things and was touting them. They weren't played without his permission. Nobody cut it together. Whatever, he had his hand in it. He was grateful at the time that they were putting this thing up that made it look like he was the savior of the world. He was happy. I mean, come on. It's a deep reference goes, the Shark Week thing. I mean, come on. Come on. Who pulls that out of the air that quickly? Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I'm just saying. But at... fuck me. This is terrible. So, he's happy about these videos. He's impressed with them. He wants you to be impressed by them. So this is not, I just want to like pre-debunk plea de bunk. I think it's the French way of pronouncing it. Although it's not a K at the end, it's a Q-U-E. Plea de bunk. I'm going to plea de bunk the idea that he didn't want this, or the deep state did it, or whatever. He's fucking high-fiving himself for that fucking video that they played at the beginning.
Very few people thought that this was possible. Of course, they'll be saying now, we always told you it was so, but we have them saying a little bit different. But
hey, you know what's funny? Is we have you, after all the shit that you've said and what your supporters say, we have you saying stuff that was a little bit different, especially the whole great job Ron part. By the way, a lot of people will say, why did Ron DeSantis fail as a candidate? Besides, he's a dweeb with a stupid haircut and a terrible speaking voice and weird shoes and has no charisma and his, I guess, his plans overall, while they might, excite a small group of people in Florida who are psychopaths and people in the villages and shit like that, nationwide, they're pretty much ass, and it's one of the struggles that Trump has. Sure. But one of the biggest failures of the DeSantis campaign was not playing that little piece of video where Trump said, thank you, Ron. It's great. You're doing a great job, Ron. Thank you, Ron. Great job, Ron.
It has been incredible, and it will end the pandemic. It will end the pandemic, and we're working with other nations, as you...
What pandemic? You mean the plandemic, maybe?
See, actually, by looking at your screen today, we're working very closely with other nations.
Look at your screen.
Also to get...
Look at your screen. What?
The vaccines out to other nations, and...
yeah, but not yet.
That's very important. We work with the world.
You're goddamn right I was the former governor of Minnesota, goddammit. And if you'll notice, Fargo didn't happen on my watch. It never would have happened. That guy never would have gotten away with bungling a kidnapping and getting his wife killed if I was the fucking governor. And this asshole is constantly stealing my lines.
Working with the world. We have great companies, and we're working with the world. In just a few minutes,
working with the world. Is it sort of a globalist approach? Is that what you're talking about? You're trying to the world in general, the globe. We'll just call it, for sake of it, the globe. You're working with the globe, the entire globe, together as an ist.
Sign an executive order to ensure that the United States government prioritizes
is a difficult word to read. Not to say, oddly enough, but prioritizes is, I'm not having any trouble with it, but I'm a wise ass. So how do you say that again? Run that by me. We're going to be here all day.
To ensure that the United States government prioritizes
You just feel you can feel like his spine cringing when he tries to say some of these words. And you thought he just recently become a shitty speaker.
Getting out of the vaccine to American citizens before...
Sorry, getting out the vaccines to American citizens?
Prioritizes the getting out of the vaccine to American citizens.
The getting out of the vaccines to American... Okay.
Before sending it...
That's what he was just... Again, this is QAnon code. He was telling everybody, get out.
To other nations. Now, if necessary, I told you we'll invoke the Defense Production Act, but...
awesome.
We don't think it'll be necessary. If it is, it's a very powerful act.
It's a very powerful act. It is. Yes, it is. You should see it. It's like juggling and comedy. It's amazing.
Because we've used it very, very successful.
Fucking hell. Now uploading our own complete copy. Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you, sir. Because this is like CSL. Can we give a big round of applause to CSL? He just pulled down this fucking thing, and he's going to cut out that little piece for us. Because holy shit.
While we begin to swiftly deploy the vaccine, we'll continue to expand the availability of groundbreaking therapies. Since April, advances in treatments have already helped reduce the mortality rate by 85%. Think of that.
Yeah, that didn't turn out to be true.
85%.
From the Alpha, which was like the second least fatal version of the disease. Tell us about Delta.
It's an incredible number.
It is an incredible number. I like that number. 85 is terrific. I love that year. And not just because may or may not have lost my virginity. That, you know what? TMI.
I've delivered on my solemn promise.
It's actually a year before. I don't want to. So we're going to scrub this from the show. Edit this out. Paul, edit her out.
To make the antibody treatments, they're brilliant. They're highly successful.
Yeah, they're great. And they're why I'm standing here wheezing in front of you today.
Available to every American, and we're doing that free of cost, totally free of cost. So
no, you're doing it free of charge. There is a cost because it costs money to make them and produce them, tax dollars in particular. And so tax dollars, the American people collectively are paying for the cost. We're just not charging people, you fucking tool. God damn it. I think these commies, man. Whenever these commies get in office, free of cost. That's like saying free of effort. Shut the fuck up, you fucking commie with your red fucking China tie. You didn't think it's weird? You didn't notice that? You didn't notice that, people? Oh, sorry. 1 second. To put this up here. You didn't notice that, people? Huh? Red tie made in China? Hello? Sorry. Okay.
we're making them available, and they're available now. And if somebody gets sick, it works where they go and they get treatment if that's what the doctors are prescribing.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously these are, so they're not over the counter.
And it's been incredible, the success. And when you hear 85%.
That's a good number. I like that number. That's why I didn't want those 64 people who were sick on that cruise ship to come aboard, because it would have doubled my number. And that's like 100% more cases. And I was like, fuck those people. Let them die on a boat, because I don't want 100% rise in my cases. But 85%, I like the sound of that. That works.
That's some number. To me, that's a number that goes along with anything else.
It is. It goes along with a nice Chardonnay. I mean, chicken, beef, pork, shrimp. 85 goes along with that anywhere. Goes along with 125. 85 over 16. That's a good pulse rate, right? Goes great with any hit singles of 85. That's a good one. I'm gonna like that very much. We go all the way back. God, this guy's an asshole. This is a number that goes along with anything else. Yes, 85 goes really well with acid wash jeans, big hair, bangs, very big.
Including the vaccines, when you think about it, as well as we've done with...
I do. Let's think about it, shall we? Yeah, okay. I'm done.
The vaccines, when you hear 85%...
yeah, I'm like, fuck, I got a B. I should have studied harder.
People find that one hard to believe, but you look at the stats and you see what's happening, and you...
Yeah, and it turned out, as the cases grew, that wasn't the case.
Look at other countries. They're having tremendous difficulties in Europe, relatively beyond what we're having.
Relatively beyond what we're having. Okay. Just, I'm trying to, when you think about it, I'm trying to think about what that phrase even fucking means.
Having them all over the world. But
that's true. That is true. Other countries are spread out all over the world. I don't even notice that. But like the world, like outside the United States, there's like foreigners everywhere. Sorry. They say tragedy plus time equals comedy. And I think we're finding that out today.
But this will vanquish the problem, this horrible scourge, as I call it.
God damn it, I'd almost forgotten about that. Scourge, you dumb motherfucker. Not scourge. It's pronounced scourge.
The China virus, because that's where it came from. The virus has really been looked at and studied all over the world, and our scientists.
Yeah, but by foreigners, so you can't trust those people.
Our industrial and economic mobilization has been like nobody else in the world could have done. And it's very important that we share that with others and other.
I agree. You should share that with maggots everywhere. Anyways, so that ended up being a lot. All right. This went on for 3 hours, by the way. This was a 3-hour summit. They had people come up and talk. Like he had, they had a round table. They later had, that's what that video that we saw later is from. This is, let's see if I jump to this. Where's the, yeah, there you are. Look at that there's Greg Abbott. There's Ron DeSantis. There's Azar in the middle of it. They're all just sitting on stage. It's not weird. It's not weird at all that that's who's fucking there. No. Abbott, and again, what is this? Maybe, do you get the feeling this motherfucker maybe is all this bullshit about the border and him trying to, like, burnish his credentials about the border, Abbott in particular, is really about covering for the fact that the hump by underneath in the sort of intellectual dork web of the dark hard right all blames Abbott and DeSantis for the fucking vaccine shit because they're all over this. Like, he was bringing them in because Texas and Florida are big states. Trump was trying to win the popular vote and guarantee that he got a bigger slice of these highly popular states. He knew he was fucked out of California. So one of the reasons why 85% with Candy, yeah, that, by bringing these guys in, he would, he could outsource any of the negatives to them and take all the positive for himself, right? Yeah.
Any medical health care whatsoever. And so we have to first identify them, then go to them. And the way that we are going to them is we have put together a bunch of mobile medical units that will be taking the vaccines to the people.
That's great, Greg Abbott. Fabulous. Greg Abbott, ladies and gentlemen. Mobile medical units taking the vaccines to the people. Now that is good governing. Right on. What a love. Why aren't you guys applauding? He's trying to save Texans and elderly Texans. He had a moment of, I thought this was like a broken clock moment for him where no, this is the opposite. This is the, yeah? And that's not good. That shouldn't be celebrated. You think that's a bad thing? Huh. All right, so I got it. I'm gonna go back to the chat room because I love you guys. Hold on one second. Wink. There we go. See, look what happened again. What is that? Why does it do that? Why would it? Would you not? Could you? Oh, there it comes. Whew. Now it's playing catch up. It's. I like how it comes out though. It's kind of like an old ticker tape from a computer, like an analog computer. Did MTG title my video? Oh, I have to say, I made a joke to myself because I've been watching a bunch of, like, I'm going to say something very controversial right now. And that is that controversy is what idiots have instead of content. But if everything you say is controversial, then the controversy about the controversial, then controversy is what idiots have instead of content. Also, and I think this happens with a lot of comedians too. Yes, I agree. That's a good Sparksism. That'll be hashtag Sparksism. For comedians being like edgy, it's like it comes from that sort of idea of like comedians being edgy as an excuse for not being funny. They're like, I'm too edgy for this crowd. They just don't get it. Like, no, people are people. You suck. It's not that you can't joke about these topics. It's that you can't joke about these topics. You are incapable of making jokes regarding this topic. You don't know how. All you can do is get up on stage and bitch and do a lot of, like, right? And you're trying to pass that off as comedy, and it fucking isn't. It's not fucking comedy. These like, I gotta say, the number of just, like, the spike in fucking edgelord comedy is just tiresome. All of them are like just trying to get canceled is the idea. Like, maybe I'll get some attention if I say something genuinely shitty. Yeah, Brewer's a good example of that. Brewer used to be a funny guy with decent writing, and now he just says stuff that any of the people in his audience have said out loud at their computer at some point while making a weirder, funnier face is the idea, and that's how you sell it. What in the world with an 80 stream watch streak? I love you. Thanks so much for that, Slayer chick. Boom. Hey, I'm here every time, so I appreciate you being here every time. By the way, like, subscribe, hit that like so it bumps us up in the thing. I know I said that late today. See what happens? If I don't do it right away, then it doesn't push us up into the live thing, and then you can see the difference. Crowder's not a stand-up. That's different. But I will agree, I think they put more effort on Crowder's channel into actual entertainment, because he turned it into an entertainment channel, and that's how he's more of a shock jock than he is even a political commentator most of the time. That's why he's wearing stupid suits, and he's his own, like, idiot intern shock jock. In any other timescape, Steven Crowder would be a morning drive. He would be a Howard Stern wannabe, right? Yeah. And unpopular opinion, edgelord is not comedy. I agree. I don't think it's fucking funny. Yes, he's a dick, but that's my point. Anyways, the Morning Zoo, like, Pim Fool, like, yeah, well, Tim Pool is like the NPR version of a morning shock jock. It's just kind of like whiny dud reference reading stuff. Seriously, it's like NPR for young people who are just mad. Right? And at this point, like, TYT is like a Berkeley project on a television station that's entire goal is the destruction of democracy and free exchange among people. Not even capitalism. Just the ability for somebody to go, I worked and made this. Can I have that because you made that? I'll trade you this for that. And their whole thing is never let that happen. You will be assigned who gets what from somewhere else. It's just it's so fucking lame. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that in comedy, there's this tendency these days, especially just like say the shocking thing and you get a kind of titter, uncomfortable laugh because you're simply saying the thing people don't want to say. That's not comedy. Comedy is saying the thing that people don't want to say with, are afraid to say with wit, where you're able to land it. The reason you're not able to say it in general conversation is because you don't know a funny way to make it land. You don't know a way to say it without destroying relationships, friendships, and the entire circumstance you're in. Your only option is to just flip the fucking table. Comedian's job is to come in and deal with those topics, deal with those tensions in a way that lets the tension off without destroying the actual situation. That's what comedy is, like, philosophically and biologically. That's what it's for. I've heard Tom Hartman say positive things about TYT lately. I guess, why? Because they both sell gold. I love Tom Hartman, but that's just fucked up. You're a table flipper, cold duck soup? That's okay. We're getting 100K. Yeah. How increases IQ points? I try. I mean, I don't think I increase them. I think you already have them. They might be latent and I just wake them up. Whew. Hal's better than Alpha Brain. Full disclosure, way back when I was on Rogan once, and I never shall be again, clearly. Me and Cat Williams were persona non grata. And I tried Alpha Brain because he had, I was like, all right, brain supplement, cool, good for your brain. I take creatine for muscle mass and others. Why would your brain needs a lot of nutrients? Takes 60% of the oxygen that goes in your body. Shit, you can improve your brain capacity just with Breathe Right strips. Don't at me, I'm not a doctor. But anyways, point is, just more oxygen to a certain degree. Obviously, everything has its ROI. Better. So I went on, when I was on Rogan, I tried it, and I swear to God, it made my fucking face twitch. I was like, it gave me like one of those like eye twitches. I will say there was a good part of it though. There was an upside. It did help me write comedy because I wrote a joke about face twitches after that I was very proud of. I haven't put in a special yet or whatever, but the essence of it is that most people hate it when they have a face twitch, when their eye's doing this, or they've got they've got something going on like that, and it annoys them and they hate it. And I had one and I hated it. It would just happen every so often. I'm like, why is this happening? Fuck this. And then I realized that twitch was the only part of my body that was telling me the truth. That I would walk up to some people and it would start going like this. And I was going, I can stand here and talk to this person and have a friendship / relationship / hang out with them. And this little part of my body was going, get the fuck out, run, get away, go, run for your life. This person is an asshole. They're like, go. And I was like, quit it. I have to be here. No, you fucking well don't. Right? That's it. Yeah. So that, yeah, it was a tell, absolutely. Like it became Herbert, and it might be a Herbert Lom reference from Pink Panther. You have a unique genius. It is sometimes called delicate. What? So yeah, let's go. And chat, by the way, you're lovely. Thank you. Trey Crowder's great. He is indeed. Good work, Trey Crowder. Probably had DMT in it. It did not. No. It had no controlled substances. You can buy it over the counter. Maggots have no content, so they revert to controversy. I mean, I think that is essentially it. Media Matters just did, and I watched it last night, this morning. Anyways, it all bleeds together. Media Matters did a little special on the evolution of Rusty Trombone, of Russell Brand, from the 3 phases of his, and they called it the grift drift, where these people drift towards the grift. And in a lot of cases, the word grifter is often overused. And I would argue that some people just chase attention or clout or audience, and they want volume. They want more people saying they like them, than less, and it's difficult for some folks to honor the audience that's in front of them while seeking the audience that they want. You have to have a very sound sense of self to do that. If you don't, no crowd will ever be big enough. And every crowd you see will always be an amorphous blob of heads, not a bunch of individuals who all have a myriad of reasons why they all came to that place at that time. And the miracle of being able to have an audience at all will be lost on you because it's all about volume, right? And right? And so the same thing, people will say, like, Anna Kasparian and her kind of awareness about, she was wrong about the Kyle Rittenhouse story, that she was, said there has to be something done about homelessness and crime after she was assaulted. She was sexually assaulted by 2 rando dudes on the street, which is fucking horrible. But it took that for her to come around to maybe we do need police officers around. Maybe, and then you start realizing, like, oh, okay, when you cut police officers, it's the most impoverished areas that are hurt the most and all that shit. Like, shit that I've been talking about, and I catch shit from the audience occasionally for my stance on that stuff. But then eventually you recognize I'm not talking out of my ass, and I mean well, and I'm doing I'm expressing this, not only just saying what I feel, but trying to do it comedically and in a lighthearted way so that it lands a little better, right? Whereas they're just full of hate and blather until the world flips on them, and then there's no money in this hate and blather anymore. We got to pay the bills. What's the best? What can we hatefully blather about now? And I think the best example right now is Cenk's take on Gaza is the most hyperbolic bullshit of anyone on the airways. I mean, that's saying a lot. There's a lot of hyperbolic bullshit, but good fucking Lord, he's talking out of his ass. And it's all of it is meant to be insulting out of the gate. He thinks insulting the person he's debating on the topic will solve the argument. It never does. It's really childish, and it's gotten worse. It's kind of like the Republicans and their whole anti-abortion move. They did not get the message that it is not popular. What they heard from we lost, on this issue was that we weren't loud enough about it. So let's get louder and more belligerent and more full of shit and more cruel. And that's, Cenk used to be, still is a Republican, in that regard. So that's it's not surprising he has that particular reflex. But, people will accuse Anna, for example, of grifting because she moved her position on a couple of things, when in reality, life changed her opinion on these things, it would seem. On the other hand, Russell Brand clearly just followed the money trail. He just followed, and by the way, I will hold up the fact of my slow and steady wins the race production of my show and just trying to, increase the production value and that kind of stuff. But the content and my opinions, my ethics, my morals, my philosophy has not changed from day one, nor shall it. I will adapt to details, but that won't change my ethical or philosophical stance at all. Because, this might be weird to hear in 2024, but I love people. I love them in all their fucking weirdness and all their variant groups and strange little enclaves. I just want them to get along a little bit better. And I have faith in my ability to argue. I'm very convincing. And it can be very irritating for some folks. But I'm very convincing in that regard. And so I can wait. I can be patient. I can be funny. I can relax into this because I'm not selling a crisis. And that's where the Republicans, I think right now have painted themselves into a corner, because you can't say something is a crisis and then say it can wait till next year. You know what I mean? That's just fucking stupid. And everybody knows it's stupid. It's hilarious. That's even like Republican senators and people in the House are like, we've been saying it's a crisis. It's fucking, if we can get anything and then build on that anything when we take over, because we can say we forced them to do this and they did, and then we can win, but they know they're going to lose, so they don't want to do anything. They're afraid the margin will be big if people recognize Democrats want to govern and Republicans want to sell off the land. So I can be patient with this shit. And you can see people who, there are emotionally some folks who, especially when it comes to something like Gaza or Ukraine, we see it with Phil. Like, Phil's patience is running thin, and rightly so. And so in that position, he's genuinely at the edge of himself sometimes because he's there in it. I am not. And so to pretend that I am and be as wound up about it as he is, or get myself wound up about it as he is, or through the fit of imagination. And again, worry is weaponized imagination. Sock that away somewhere. Somebody write down the other Sparksism I said earlier. I've totally forgotten it because we're all already on this other chain. But when it comes to the people who are actually experiencing something, their emotional reaction to that is based on how the proximity to the problem. So therefore, they're going to emotionally, because they're dealing with this, have a deeper and more stark reaction to it than you are. And that's how it's supposed to fucking be. If a person is drowning and they are panicking and you're on the fucking beach, you panicking makes sure they drown. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're in a position where you're on solid ground and someone else isn't, you care about them. You don't want them to drown. You don't want them to die. You flailing your hands in the air like you're drowning is not going to fucking help anybody. You have to recognize you have the privilege, if you want to call it that, of being on solid ground, and you can do something. You can think more patiently about it than they can, and you can go, okay, if I swim out there, we both drown, I'll get a stick, and then I can go out this far, and then I can reach to them, or I'll call for help, and then two of us can go there. I'm thinking about the timing of this. And then, again, once you get that person in, and you take that person to shore, and you take that person to, like, the hospital, imagine, if we will, twice removed from this situation, you've got if the doctor wasn't acting like a doctor, if they were just flailing their hands in the air like the person who was drowning previously, who's been brought in, you understand? There's value in steadying yourself, maintaining your sense of humor, maintaining your sense of priorities, so that you can manage stuff long term. And the problem right now, and this goes to I guess I'll wrap this up because we're almost near the end of the show, but prioritizing crisis and controversy as your way of having worth in the world is fucking terrible. And if you don't believe me, ask any thrash metal musician who's still trying to write the stuff he wrote when he was 15. It's fucking impossible. Because a 15-year-old's panic about their worth in the world and their own mortality is very different from a 57-year-old or a 61-year-old. Yes, I kind of do mean Dave. But you understand? God damn. I like it. Words have to mean something. And thank you for that GIF, CSL. Details matter. If you use words like crisis or genocide or or emergency on a problem that is sustained and ongoing and cannot be solved with CPR, then you're part of the problem. And I swear to God, it's like one of the biggest things that I've been dealing with over the last year is the use of the word fighter in political discourse. And it's nice to see that I'm having a bit of an impact. But fucking hell. We don't need fighters in government. We need negotiators, communicators, and experts. We need people who know details about stuff and have spent enough time paying attention to those details so that they can bring something to the fucking table. We need critical thinkers and good negotiators. Because the problem most places isn't that we disagree on the issue itself, but just the solution. And nobody's 100% right about the solution most time. So, yeah. It can feel like a fight sometimes, but it ain't them. And that's the thing. You and I think emotionally, fighting as an analogy works when you're working out. When you're fighting against a physical force, you're boxing, you're lifting weights, you're on a fucking treadmill or a fucking Peloton or whatever the shit you're doing. You're like fighting through boredom, fighting through this idea that where you're kind of engaged in a physical effort against yourself or another person, where it's a sports challenge or something like that. That totally makes sense. As an analogy, it works great. But the minute you fucking sit down and you're part of a committee that is drafting legislation, the fighting stays the fuck outside. And if you talk in terms of fighting all the time, it's like the idiot's version of The Secret. You will draw assholes up the steps of the Capitol, like, we're here to help you fight. And you're like, you're knocking my hand. I'm trying to write notes on the percentage taxation on secondary on if you have a third quarter uptick in a business, should they be able to write it off? Quit bumping my arm. We're here to fight. But 12% versus the 3% or whatever. If we cut this or whatever, we could probably negotiate a drug price that would quit it. Like, see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Rep. Ilhan is streaming this understood. She's been great for her constituents, though. Latest controversy was debunked by Candace Owens. Well, that's nice of her. What the weird thing about what Ilhan Omar said is that the quote that everybody shows that she was saying about Somalia being her country or something like that, was mistranslated and it's bullshit. But what she says later on is way more problematic, if you want to use that word. In the end of the speech, it's yeah. We'll get into that at another time. It'll be a whole other topic. But again, I'm not interested, like, Alan is pet peeves, Jesus. Well, absolutely. I'll tell you why, because it has shaped how we discuss things. Look, I do not consider what I do on this show to be fighting for anything. I am communicating, I am entertaining, and I am informing. That's what I'm doing here. This ain't fighting. If I have to fight, I have failed those other three things. I'm not going to put somebody in a fucking headlock and go, don't you understand? It would be better off if Medicare could negotiate prices. Like, what are you talking about? Right? I'm not going to convince everybody through fighting. Yeah, fighting for peace. Another stupid phrase. Oy. It matters. And the weird thing is, and the worst impact it seems to have, god damn it, is that the whole fighting mentality has brought out a group of people, and Cenk is probably the worst of them, who thinks that he's a fucking fighter because that's what you do. You're fighting for the fighting of the thing of the fighting. And because fighting gets used about what you do, you think you're actually a fucking fighter. You're not a fucking fighter. You're a fat ass. You're yelling. Yelling is not fighting. And if you don't believe me, the next time you're in a situation where someone is trying to kick your ass, try to yell your way out of it. See how well that works. Does that make sense? No one has ever yelled their way out of a fight. And if they have, by the way, they're not called a fighter afterwards. It was because they were crying or screaming and the person just let up and went, "Jesus, all right. You know, it's not fighting. Cenk's not a fucking fighter. He just yells, which is not fighting. And to some degree, I would argue, and this also goes to the controversy is not content, and edgelords are not comedians, and speaking on the air about politics that you care deeply about is not fighting for justice and fucking blah, blah, blah. It's none of those things. This goes along with it. Is that yelling is the idiot's version of sales. If you can't communicate what you're trying to, the idea, or get someone to purchase your product or your idea through normal speech level discussion, all comedy voices and laughing aside, the variety of speech is fine. You can also sing. Singing is fine as well. But once you're yelling, at that point, what you're telling me is that you suck at sales. You suck at convincing people. You suck as a communicator. And that I would argue that in what I've seen lately, Cenk's whole yelling thing is less about convincing ideas, convincing people of certain ideas or trying to convey an idea, as much as it is just pushing the dopamine button on his audience who want to watch someone upset. Which is, and I gotta say, as a business model, spot fucking on. It's the Alex Jones business model, who, by the way, also thinks he's fighting for something, and he's not. He's just dumb. And it makes him angry, I guess. But fucking they print money. And if you can do, and I jokingly for a while called Russell Brand the hippie Alex Jones, because it's exactly what he was trying to be. If his whole rape shit hadn't come out and he didn't have like 6 open sexual assault cases against him in 2 separate countries and all that stuff didn't start coming up, he was on a fucking, where's the, do I have my Trump window?
The numbers should skyrocket downward.
No, that's the opposite. That he was just making money hand over fist. He was building something huge until people realized it's a fucking farce. Now there's a end to that. There's a point where you're going to run aground because you can't build your entire, you can't build, and I'm sorry, Marxist millionaires who are out there, you cannot build a financially sound company and endeavor where you bathe yourself in wealth and have multiple homes and cars and all that kind of shit on a mountain of the revolution has to come to fuck these rich assholes. You can't do it because one of 2 things will happen. Either it will actually happen and they're going to come for you because you're the one that they're going to be aware of and they know where you fucking live. Or at some point, they're going to wake up to the idea that This motherfucker's been talking about working class issues and all this kind of stuff for a very long time. And they're going to go over to the Google machine and they're going to go tickety-tackety-tick. And they're going to go Russell Brand net worth. Or Jimmy Dore net worth. Or Cenk Uygur net worth. And they're going to go, hang on. And that's the entire end of your game. See you this afternoon. All right. Hit that like on the way out the door, by the way, please. If you can. If you feel like it. If you want to. Hit it. Hit the thumbs down if you're mad at me for saying what I said. Just for the record. Please do. Please go, oh, you jerk. And I'll go, please, and you go, no. And by the way, Streamlabs is having a day, so all my credits things aren't running, so sorry. Love you guys. Thank you for the support. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. See you later. You're awesome. Okay, bye.